A very good evening to all of you. Me Too movement in India is here, viewers. And the latest big one to join the revolution is TV scriptwriter Vimta Nanda from the famous TV show called Tara of the 90s. She has accused actor Alok Nath of rape. We begin with her story tonight because I believe her story is gut-wrenching. I believe her story is also the apt example to help us understand why India needs this movement. She was allegedly raped by her close friend. She suffered for years. She lost her job. She was pushed out of the industry, advised to forget it all. Like Tanushri Datta, Vimta Nanda also spoke out about the assault. She wrote about it, she gave interviews, and nobody heard her. Nobody heard her. She had to deal with her own battles while Alok Nath continued with a successful career. But tonight, it's different. And this is the power of Me Too. Women are being heard tonight. Their struggles and battles against sexual predators are being heard tonight. And it is forcing us as a society, it is forcing the corporate world to introspect. Me Too is a powerful tool, viewers. If handled right, it can be the change, it can bring the change that women have been waiting for so long. To feel liberated, to feel safe, to be able to work without worrying about sexual predators. We bring you the big debate on India's work culture on the other side, but first, hear it from Vimta Nanda.
First of all, ma'am, appreciate you much for speaking to us about this. Appreciating you much for coming out in the open and also speaking to the press and making it very clear on why you have chosen to speak out today. I would like to start with what you just pointed out, saying that what you wrote on Facebook was a decision that you felt was now or never, and you were overwhelmed with the support that you have received today, which was missing in all these 16 to 20 years in the past.
Very frankly, I was like toying with the idea of coming out for the last 2 or 3 weeks. But, you know, I tested it with a couple of people around me, my friends and family, and they all thought that I should not. And let sleeping dogs lie, because I would just open a can of worms and, you know, reopen wounds which were settled and done with. So I subsequently decided not to do it. But then when I saw the build-up take place, and I'm pretty, you know, familiar with news all the time, I keep abreast of what's going on. And when I saw the build-up taking place, I was feeling more and more convinced that I should come out with the truth. Other than this, also another factor was that one of the things that I work with is the gender cause, and my organization, Asian Center for Entertainment Education, has been you know, promoting the idea of gender discourse in popular and mainstream entertainment and media. So I was constantly feeling, while I was at work, I was constantly feeling very guilty that I'm you know, promoting certain ideas which I don't have the courage or the gumption to you know, to be able to be like that. So I kind of was very, very disturbed about that fact.
Perhaps technicalities involving on how does one go ahead and prove a point, because the concerned actor, your alleged rapist, the actor Alok Nath, as you've been saying, has been accusing of all that brutality, has denied it. He has already spoken out on it today, and he's denied it, saying that she was my good friend and I'm upset that she's come up with these allegations.
So there are two parts to this answer. One is that what do you expect him to say? He's obviously met with shock, and he's not going to say, yes, I did it. And the second part of the answer is this, that yes, we were very, very close friends. His wife and me were in college together, and then I moved to Bombay, and then his wife moved to Bombay, and we were living together for a long time before she got married to him. And we were part of the same theatre group, and we had the same group of friends. And post this incident, what happened was I was the one who was isolated. I was the one who was left out, and I had to build a whole new life all over again. And as far as they were concerned, they were no longer my friends. So I haven't met them for more than 18 years, except for a fleeting hello to his wife at a couple of places here and there. And I've actually met his wife, and I have actually met her along with a very dear close friend from college, and I've actually spoken to her and told her what exactly had transpired and happened. And she was very shocked, and she is a very nice person, and she was very taken aback, but she also was very helpless. So as far as I'm concerned, I didn't expect him to give you an answer like, yes, she's absolutely talking the truth, and that did happen. And so he's giving the obvious answers to you. I went out, I spoke, I became targeted. I was labeled a troublemaker. I was labeled somebody who would, who was not cooperative, in inverted commas, as they say. And subsequently, I was out of a job. I didn't have work to do. And I was going through, I had serious issues with my confidence. I had serious issues with the, with my ability to be able to push myself into a very, very competitive world. And I suffered a lot. I suffered shame. I suffered bankruptcy. I suffered, going from pillar to post, breaking down in meetings. I went to meetings in which I wasn't able to sustain myself, and when something happened which I wasn't able to comprehend, I would break down and start crying. So those were not very pretty situations that I'm talking about to you right now, but I'm being able to tell you because I'm free and liberated from from all the trauma that I've carried on my shoulders for so many years. And subsequently, once it was all over, I had to start my life from scratch. Had it not been for a few of my friends who supported me and stood by me, I would not have even been able to earn my daily bread and butter. Because there was this suspicious air around me where everyone knew what had happened to me. Nobody was talking about it. The fact that I had spoken about it, I was the villain.
One final question before I let you go. There are several who say that the movement is on Twitter and in several cases has remained on Twitter as well. It's important to speak out. That is the first important step. But it's equally important to take this as far as a probe and this case entering court here as well. Do you think that you would like to go ahead all the way now?
No, definitely I would like to, having seen the impact that my conversation on Twitter, social media and television has had, I was in fact just telling the person my very dear friend Anusha, who's managing the media for us today, I was just telling her that I'd like to go village to village and tell them this story. I mean, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take my story down to every single person and tell them that this is what the consequences of silence is. So don't ever do this to yourself.
Yashwanta Nanda, appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are proud of you. We are proud that you have spoken out, and we are proud for the nature of message that you're trying to send out to young girls, young women survivors, or even of your generation and your age. Many, many thanks for speaking to us on this, on a very difficult time in your life and finding that courage of coming out. Thank you.
Finding that courage to come out. That's why I say this movement is so powerful. Look how it gave the courage to Yashwanta Nanda. And so many more women are speaking out tonight against perverts, molesters and rapists. This is the time for India's Me Too revolution. For years now, women have been suppressed at workplaces, abused and harassed by their peers, by their seniors. And you know what? They've had enough. What Tanushree Datta started and has led to hundreds speaking up now. But I find it odd, viewers, that even before this small percentage, and believe me, what has come out is just a very small percentage of the rot of the victims. Even before this small percentage has actually come out, there are people who are doubting it. There are people who are so worried about false allegations. There are men who are worried about damaging reputation, about ruining lives. I find it odd Why are we already trying to derail this movement even before it has picked up full steam? Because believe me, this is just the beginning. Tonight, we discuss the way forward. Let's say good evening to our panelists. Anuja Kapoor, lawyer and activist, joining us from Noida. Tarunum Yogesh Dorial, director for TYD Ideas. Rana Ayub, senior journalist. Anshu Moore, comic. Anurag Naidu of the Think Right. And Mia Lakra, an actor and a model. And let me start with Rana Ayub. What's your view, Rana? Why is it that even as just a small handful of women, or even maybe in some cases men, have spoken out, we're already seeing this whole narrative being built up about false allegations and it being misused to settle some kind of scores? Why is that happening?
Well, it is an extremely important movement, and it has been building up over the years because women journalists, women in media, women actors have been repressing, these acts that have been inflicted on them, this sexual intimidation, and nobody really expected them to speak. Nobody really expected them to name and shame. All these while, whether it is Bollywood's Me Too that we have been waiting to happen, there have only been innuendos. Nobody's really named names. It's for the first time that big names have been named. People are being called out. So there is this big fear that is we could be next. It's an important movement and it is cathartic. Having said that, there are aberrations. I mean, there are a few instances wherein anonymous handles are trying to hijack the movement by trying to settle political scores. That is certainly something one should look out for. That's something one should avoid. But having said that, that is essentially not a part of, not a big part of this movement and this revolution which is happening. The biggest part of this revolution is that we are naming and shaming our oppressors, tormentors. We have empowered voices who would never have found the courage over the years to speak out, and finally they have found the courage, their voice, to speak out. So I think instead of kind of shaming them, we should encourage them.
Yeah.
Because had it not been for the encouragement, the likes of Vinta Nanda would have never spoken. She spoke because there was encouragement.
Absolutely, and nobody can deny how widespread this problem is. I mean, what percentage of women actually face sexual harassment at workplace, outside of work? So why not enable others to come out and talk about it? Mia, what do you think? Is this the revolution that we need?
I'll totally agree. In fact, I'm really happy finally this Me Too movement have come in India. This should have come up long time back when this took place in America. I don't know why did it take so much time. Secondly, this has given another sense of power and how should I say, the power to all the girls, all the women out there, be it at the workplace, be it outside, be it at public, to express themselves. Now, no more they will have to hold their emotions, the feelings, or the fear of they'll be isolated, they'll be targeted, because now there are millions, zillions of people out there to support the women, to support this cause, Me Too movement. Being from this glam industry, being an actor and model, I myself have gone through so many mental, emotional, and this pressure where I must have gone through, and I was really afraid to express myself because I was afraid they're gonna judge me, they're gonna chuck me out from that project. But now I have that courage and I've got the power to speak about myself, because definitely you guys are there. This moment is there to support. So I guess, I don't know why did it take so much time to come in India, but definitely this will gonna make definitely a big and huge difference in our society and country.
Let me take that point across to Anurag Naidu, and I think he already has, he's heard two women speak up, and he has some points to make. Anurag Naidu, is this the right time to begin to doubt and to dissect? Isn't there a fear that the minute you start doing that, all of those women who need the courage, who need to feel comfortable enough to come out and speak up about it without fearing the consequences, will not do that? That we won't have more Vinta Nandas unless we give them this feeling that we are here to hear you out without shaming you or doubting you.
Well, you see, for now, it looks to be a very positive movement. But I again caution, it's for now. And, there is one interesting thing about this Me Too movement, which we need to discuss. And that important point is we really don't know what kind of legal actions can be taken on Aloknath, people like Aloknath, or for other people who are accused, including Nana Patekar for that matter. But having said that, bringing these names in public will definitely damage their image, which is much more than a punishment, which I believe is a much stronger thing to do. Having said that, we are all sorry for what has happened with our friends in the past. But we really need to see where this movement goes. As far as now it's concerned, it is absolutely on the right track. Of course, we are a bit delayed compared to the international, some of the countries in the West, like US. This Me Too movement should have started a bit more early. But having said that, we are strong enough on the right footing and people are coming out. But we really need to be very careful to see that it does not get some kind of a ugly shape in the society or women. See, we have to admit the fact that there are all kind of cases in the world, right? So we're doing all justice to the
why are we repeatedly saying this, that we need to be careful, we need to be careful? Why are we repeatedly saying that? Is there any statistic, any significant example that tells us that it is widely misused? We have cases of rape and FIRs being filed every day. Do we have so then why are we and why is a significant why is people online and offline repeatedly saying this? Do we not understand the fact that this could have an impact on those who do want to speak up, who for years have not spoken up?
That's why we should not be discussing that. We should let people speak out. We should respect everyone, or all of our friends who are speaking out. We should respect for now. And there's no point in discussing anything further on that. Obviously, it is going in the right direction.
Anshu Moore, good evening to you. What's your view? What is the way forward from where we stand tonight?
Good evening. I think first and foremost, I think it's a very important thing which has happened in terms of women coming out, specifically in India, speaking out on these issues. And I've been following this non-stop for the past 3-4 days ever since it's happened. And I've also spoken to a lot of women in personal capacity over my lifetime. And I know how difficult it is. I think most of the men are not understanding how difficult it is for women to speak out on public platforms and talk about stuff that has happened to them. Even in one-to-one conversation, women tend to they break down talking about experiences which are a decade old. So first and foremost, I think everybody should respect the fact that women are speaking out. They should listen more. I think what is fundamentally happening, which is extremely important, is I saw an infograph on Twitter which was explaining exactly what harassment amounts to, what are the things which constitute harassment. And this is a big learning curve, I can tell you, for every man who's listening or hearing this or watching this, right? A lot of people don't even understand that, they've crossed a limit. They think rape is the final limit, but there are a lot of just basic touch could be harassment, and people don't understand that. And just because of this movement, because women are speaking out, it is out in the open. Men are trying to understand. Those who are at least intelligent enough to listen, at least now.
But don't you find it odd
on the issue of?
Don't you find it odd, Anshu, that men are trying to understand? I fail to understand what is the confusion. Why are men so confused about what is okay and what is not okay? Like you said, and especially at a workplace. Now we've come to a point.
Let me answer that.
Go ahead, please.
Let me answer that. I think fundamentally a lot of things which are very obvious, right, in terms of unwanted touch, in terms of consent, I think people over time have started to understand that. But even basic things, and I'll talk about, let's say, a comedy example, right? In stand-up comedy, just if a fan is coming to you, if a female fan is coming to you for a photograph, it is not okay really to put arms around her. And these are simple things. And, sometimes in the moment, people are thinking this is okay, it's a fan, she's come. Now it is not okay. And a lot of people otherwise also trying to understand the finer details. I'm not saying the big things, right? I'm not saying unwanted touch. I'm not saying not understanding, no. All of those should have been understood decades ago. But even the smaller, the finer points are being understood now, which is a great, great thing to happen. I just want to make one more point on this issue of these fake claims being made.
Yeah.
I don't, I've seen a few claims being made on Twitter, and there are women who have come against those claims. And I don't think we should kind of, put down this movement by any standards by quoting those examples. Those examples will happen, but there's a bigger stuff which is happening out there. There's a bigger movement that is happening. I think all men, women, everybody around should appreciate what is happening right now.
Well, in fact, because you raised that point, and because, in the last 4-5 days, I have been speaking to a lot of men, and there seems to be some amount of confusion. There seems to be some amount of paranoia. What if my name comes out tomorrow? How do we know what's okay or not? Should I just simply stop talking to women at work? If it's so difficult to understand what makes you a sexual harasser, then we've actually collated the rules. Ideally, every company is supposed to make you go through these training programs, but if you don't, it's there on your screens. Workplace sexual harassment. This includes physical contact and advances. This includes a demand for requests for sexual favors or making sexual remarks about a person, to a person, over the telephone, over email, not just at workplace. If you type it out and send it to them, it's sexual harassment.
Yes.
Showing pornography, that's sexual harassment. Questioning about an employee's sex life, it's sexual harassment. Making gender-based insults, making gender-based remarks, sexist remarks, cracking sexual jokes at a workplace is sexual harassment. Passing innuendos, taunts and unsavory remarks is sexual harassment. This is it. This is the list. That's all you need to keep in mind. And you will not be confused.
Yes,
but if it is so difficult, then I think, and this message goes out to everybody, men and women. Yes, and if it is so difficult to understand just these basic rules to be followed at workplace when you're supposed to act like a professional, then I think those people just need to sit at home, lock themselves up. Because there's another bizarre theory that I've been hearing, and I want to take that point across to Tarunam Yogesh.
Yeah, and I think
Tarunam, there have been multiple. I have heard this, many in my office have heard this. Corporate India and many there seem to be suggesting that because women are coming out and damaging reputation of men and naming them and shaming them, the corporates will stop hiring women. Because they don't know whether to call you in the cabin or not, when to talk to you, how to talk to you. And because men are so scared right now of even talking to women colleagues, that they will not hire women. It's ridiculous. Can we actually have a situation where men can decide to do that?
I have actually a point to make.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, my point is that we are talking about a very, it's not just talking about sexual harassment over here. It's also something connected to what that person is going through mentally. And, we can't actually measure the depths of a mental pain, because we're talking, so whenever somebody is coming out in the open and talking about it and expressing, what most of the people are doing right now is just judging that person or that woman and saying that, oh, it's a stigma, and why is she talking about it now? Why is this person going through this now? But aren't we in a culture where we were supposed to express to each other in society? And what about, when we say that, oh, in India we don't have too many problems because we have a circle of friends and relatives. But right now, when I'm looking at all of the, the entire Me Too campaign, I realize that a lot of women are just pushed at the back seat and not to express, not to talk, not to come out in the open. So it's clearly a gender-based bias over here. And,
no, but Taranum, are we failing at workplaces, in corporates? Even the comedy world is now so corporatized. Are we failing to make people aware of what's right and what's wrong? There are simply some 10 basic pointers that everybody has to follow. Why is it that sexual harassment is so rampant in our offices?
Correct. See, I have a couple of, I've come across couple of cases and where women want to come out and express, but they are in the fear that there could be a superior who would, stop them in their path and not let them get work in the future. So there are a lot of permutation combinations which doesn't allow women to come out and express themselves. The corporate world is still not taking this seriously. A lot of them take it, okay, fine, maybe there is an issue, but what does HR, which way does the HR have to tilt? Until and unless there is a strong internal committee which speaks about and says that, we need to stand up for this together, and let's not take it as just another frivolous topic which will go out of, our mindsets and disappear out in the world. And then again, after a few years, when we come back to the same question, we are clearly not working upon it. So it is very disheartening to see a lot of corporates still not being able to take that stand and take this committee seriously.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, one, you have failed as a boardroom full of men to ensure that there are sexual harassment committees in place who will look into this matter where procedures are followed. Two, there are now people who seem to suggest and have the audacity to even say that, oh, we will stop talking to women, hiding them because it's such a problem. And it's not just corporate India, by the way. That seems to be a reaction that goes beyond the working office world, even our politicians. That's literally what BJP MP Udit Raj said today. And I find it extreme. I am unable to even get over that kind of an argument. It's just like, it's as if you need an excuse to keep women out of workplace and keep them locked up in their homes. Let me go across to Anuja Kapoor. Anuja, you've heard what everybody had to say. Anshu, I'll come back to you. Anuja's not spoken yet. So let me have her comments as well. Anuja.
Yeah.
I just need one more before you.
I'll come back to you, Tarun.
Can I just speak about the SME world, because
I'll come back to you. Yeah, Anuja Kapoor, please.
Yeah, I've been listening to whole of these issues, and I'm really happy that the Me Too movement is like, you go to, it's a group therapy which is happening now.
Yeah.
And it is not, we should be putting ourselves back off it. It is a group therapy of all those victims or survivors who have felt that they have been harassed or sexually harassed in any way, and they're bringing in the things up. Now, when we talk about, yes, there was a debate which was happening before I came here, and a part of it, and I heard the people who were talking about why did they get onto the social media? Why didn't they use, as a lawyer, they asked me, why didn't they go to the lawyer, to the court and ask straight away the justice? Do these people think that taking a justice is just a piece of a cake? I'm sorry. I have been a lawyer to many of these victims, and it is hard. You just don't come up one day and just talk about it. It is the events which has been matching up. You talk about it because you keep on feeling, you keep on reciting it, you keep on looking into it in your mind day in, day out. When they talk about, they have a question that why now, and why at that time, why didn't they speak about it? If we look into very closely, why now and why they didn't speak about it, because this is what exactly which is happening now would have happened at the same time. The support system which they are getting on social media, that will not get it in the court. They definitely, the court has a procedure. You will get into it, but during the court, here I would say it's a sweet justice which comes before. But when they say that the women are doing false allegations, then they are saying that there are people who are talking about women are calling these perpetrators as predators. They say that they cannot speak a predator until and unless that the person has been convicted. Then how can we say that the women are saying something which is a false accusation? When you are speaking on one side that they cannot be called as predators, in the same way we cannot speak about the women that they can be called as a false accusations. So we have to understand that there was another point which came up, that the women are speaking in social media is if they go to the court after that, they are weakening their own case because they're giving the pointers to the defense. But if I say that they are giving pointers to the defense, where the defense has also proved by saying that they are sorry. There are times when there are a lot of people who have just said that they are sorry on this and this has happened and I'm sorry. So what we are looking is actually the people here are very confused. They're not able to understand that what is happening, because this kind of a system never happened before. Because the women in a larger, it's like you remember that pink gang that
Yes.
you know that is there in a village, that this pink so pink ladies or pink gang is there. So it is called as a movement. Movement cannot be just, you know, a group of women they start shouting and
Yeah, no, and
it can be here also.
And
Now,
if you look at most of the women who've actually come up,
one question I would ask.
Sure, go ahead, please.
So one more thing, I asked a person who was actually screaming on his top of his voice. I asked, you know, if given a chance, if you're saying that the women are speaking like this, ask to the children who have been recently molested. You will see that those children are also putting up a false accusation. It's a shame. It's a shame how low we can go down. After taking women for their lust, they're taking children for their lust too. Is Me Too movement is for everybody. We never said that Me Too woman is for women. This has to be taken up.
Technically, if you
Me
say
Too
the word
is
me,
for all the victims.
Technically, if you
It
say
is
the
for
word
lady
me
boss
itself is
also,
not gender specific. It can be for either of the any of the genders, and so everybody can use it and speak up. But just by sheer numbers, you can see how rampant sexual harassment against women is. Anshu Moore wanted to come in between. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of address the point that you made about certain men saying that now they will stop talking to women, or that they will not be in the same conference room. I think those are really, really flimsy statements to make.
Yeah.
And those are really weak men who are actually saying that. You know, comedy industry has been hit massively in the past 3-4 days, but it hasn't stopped any of us in talking to either female comedians or to our friend circle who are females, right? So I don't think those arguments stand. And like the case of certain allegations which might not sound so genuine, exactly on that same point, these kind of things should be ignored. They should not be part of the discussion right now. I think the discussion is that there are women who are taking a huge step in calling out these issues, and it is on social media primarily because, as it was also mentioned by the other panelists, it's not easy going to the law right now. It's a tiresome process. A lot of people back out, and we know that as normal citizens, we back out of a police or a law case. And I wish there were redressal systems out there. Like, for example, things have happened in the comedy industry. People have been named out, and very quickly the entire industry has put together, or is right now in the process of putting together, a redressal system where there's a committee where these issues will be raised. I think groups, organizations, corporates, industry should do that. What happens outside of this, which is schools and colleges, is still a big concern. And that is the point that I was making, that for learning curve is just not about corporates. The learning curve is for these kids who are growing up in school and colleges, who probably don't even understand these things right now. Such campaigns really help them understand this much better.
Do you think there will be a lasting impact apart from, you know, some of the decisions that are being made right now, Rana? Do you think that there will be a larger change that we see, that people become slightly more aware of their own actions and behavior and think twice before actually targeting someone?
Absolutely. I think all that we had taken for granted, I mean, in terms of our behavior towards women, in terms of our attitudes towards women, I think that will have to change. I think a lot of men in India right now might be introspecting out of fear, introspecting their attitudes towards women in the past, introspecting their conversations with women in the past, and that is an important step. Also, the other thing that has been missing over the years is empathy. We hardly empathize with victims of these situations. When was the last time we said, I'm sorry to hear this happen to you? It does not happen often. I mean, it doesn't really happen. There's no culture, because in India everything is chalta hai, because it's a part of our culture. So I think that we have sensitized people. We have sensitized an entire generation through this. I mean, people who are watching this on social media, on television, will understand that they cannot take things for granted. This harassment is, I mean, and they've also understood the nuances of sexual harassment. What constitutes sexual harassment? I mean, till now, it was only about that rape and molesting somebody's harassment. I think the biggest learning from this has been that people in position of power, when they intimidate somebody sexually, that is also harassment. I think the definition of harassment has changed with this narrative, and that's been the most significant achievement. It has empowered voices. And I mean, we have always cribbed about the film industry never coming up, it's being a spineless industry. For the first time, women are actually speaking up. And I think in the future, when you have casting agents, when you have producers, they will think twice before abusing somebody while being in their positions of power. I think editors, before hiring somebody, will think twice before passing a lewd comment on a woman journalist. I think they will think twice. I mean, there might be still, I mean, of course, there will be incidents that it will keep happening. I mean, these movements will never really stop these perverts, but they will think twice.
Yes, and that's Mia Lakra, that's largely also the idea. And I think most of the women who have even spoken up now are not expecting or fighting to send their harasser or their tormentor to jail. They're doing it because they don't want this to happen again to themselves. They're doing it because they don't want this to happen to any other woman. They want these sexual predators and harassers to be cornered, to be careful, so that these things don't happen again. And that's largely what the movement seems to be about.
I'll totally agree with this. In fact, this Me Too movement, I'm in favor with that. And many, as I said earlier also, this is giving the power to all the women out there to speak up, to express themselves. And definitely this is spreading the news and awareness to all the age groups, be it youth, be it teenagers, be it the girls or women in the workplace or public. As I said, I myself, like from that fraternity, acting and modeling, so I myself have been gone through so many ups and downs, and just because I was scared and afraid of being isolated, I never expressed. But today I have got the guts and courage to express myself, as you said, so that no other Mia Lakra or no other women or no other girl can fall into the same trap. And second of all, I have been noticing and hearing that now the men, they're avoiding to talk to women, or they're gonna isolate them. No, like they should change their mentality, because that again will that won't like hide their what should I say, the misbehavior or whatever these people think about the girls or the women. I mean, so they should change their mentality. Now at least they have that sense of little bit scared. They're just scared, they're afraid. Like now we girls can go and express ourselves, speak up, so I don't know what will gonna happen to their image or anything. And third of all, to such people who do such misbehave thingy at workplace or outside, they should be mentally harassed as we women go through it. They should be financially, or they should be just chucked out from the workplace, so that some lessons should be taught to them, so that they should be think twice, thrice, or at least a zillion of times before even uttering a single word related to women or related to sexual harassment or mental harassment. I can totally correlate with it, because trust me, after this Me Too movement, I myself have gathered a lot of courage to come in front of you guys, that I'm speaking on national television, because yes, this movement has given me the power to express myself. I'm really happy that this finally came in India.
Yes, and that is what is happening to so many women who are finding courage. Like we played out an excerpt of the interview with Vintananda, and she says this. She says that 3 days ago I was watching on TV, and I was reading about women who've come out and spoken, and I saw the kind of support they got. And I didn't get that support years ago when I first spoke up about it, just like Tanushri Datta. She didn't get that support. She was shattered. It destroyed her life. She couldn't work. She couldn't focus on work. She used to break down during meetings as she fought back to bring about some kind of normal setup in her own life. And today she feels confident enough and empowered enough to come out and speak up about it, because she knows we are listening. Anuja wanted to make a point. Anuja, go ahead, please.
I would also put it there as a psychologist. As a psychologist, I would let you know that when a person goes through with such kind of a trauma, you can see, there is a variation. You can see there is a difference in their physical appearances. It starts coming up. The mentality changes. The pressure on their body, in their mind changes. You will see that they become suicidal. They no more confident. They believe that they are hopeless. They have no right to live. And if ever they will come out, nobody will believe them, because during the time of the assault, they are being categorically said, you cannot touch us. at any point. And what is going to happen is, first of all, nobody is going to believe you. Now, here we say that we see Alok Nath, who is been considered as a sanskari guy, and here because he's been portrayed in such a way, does it mean that the person who is portraying as a sanskari guy cannot do something like this heinous? Now, this woman has brought up this the other side of this person in front of us all. Now, if we question the sanity of the women, what is the point of this Me Too movement?
Yes.
What is the point of this Me Too movement?
For example, Alok Nath, like you said, Anuja,
on the panel.
Yeah, Alok Nath, for example, is one of those. He was asked by different media organizations, and his response was, आजकल तो जो औरतें बोलती हैं वो ही माना जाता है, तो मेरे बोलने से कुछ फायदा नहीं होगा. I rather not speak about it because people are only going to believe the woman. He's instantly jumped to that tool to say any which ways, you know, it's not as if you're going to give me a chance and you're going to believe me, you believe the women all the time. Look at what the MP, Udit Raj, has said. And which is why I keep raising this again and again, because these are voices which are everywhere. Some of them make it to television, some of them are on social media, some of them are people around you. And they bring about these doubts in your minds of whether there is a point of saying this or not, or whether the people will just turn around and shame me and blame me and suspect me and my motives. I want to play out that comment of Udit Raj because frankly I think the party BJP also needs to come out and wholeheartedly condemn this. But then they also need to look into the allegations that are being all made against this senior minister. Here's Udit Raj.
I'm not saying there is no casting couch in film industry. It is rampant there. I'm not saying that the male do not exploit. It's very common. But the only thing that if you generalize that all women, if they speak up, they are true. And males are, they all are involved in sexual harassment. It will be too general, it not be in the context of.
That actually was his clarification to when we went and asked him, how can you make such a comment? His initial comment said, Netas will stop talking to women. They will be so scared to talk to women because who knows tomorrow who will turn around and make what allegation against you. Anurag Naidu, do you think it's right for anybody in that position to make such a comment?
Absolutely condemnable. He's as an MP, it is shameful that he's made that comment. But there are two interesting things, and I would like to bring these things onto the table. We need to understand that now that Tanushree Datta and people like her has come in open, there is also sexual harassment happening in same gender. I would like to see more of that coming in public. I would like to see more of revelations coming in so that it becomes a very common thing to, discuss amongst ourselves and, we find ways on how do we punish them. It's very important now. One of our panelists spoke very beautifully about the legal remedies or the legal options that are available. When we go to the court, you just imagine this case of Tanushree Datta. If she goes to the court and claims that this is what has happened, and if investigation is ordered, are we really confident that it will be proved guilty in the court? We're not very sure about it. So we need to pragmatically think about how do we punish these people? Because if we don't punish these people, this will be a set of shameless people coming on Twitter and just apologizing. There are a lot of people coming in Twitter and just making a simple apology, saying that this is what has happened. And, they're even picturizing, they're even narrating the whole story and saying that I'm very extremely sorry for what has happened. So where is this factor of punishment? So we need to pragmatically think on how do we make sure that this set of people, at least this initial set of people gets punished so that it sets an example for others. Right? And it also gives kind of a moral booster to other women to come in open, because if justice is there, if they find that the law of land is capable enough, or we all as a group of people are capable enough in making sure that the culprits are punished, and that is where they get the real energy to come in more number and come out in public, and this is what has happened. So we need to ensure that they get more strength.
So how do they get justice? Does anybody have an answer to this? How do you get justice for these kind of allegations? Yes, Anshu.
Tanvi, this is Anshu. I just want to make a point. I think we're missing the impact that this movement is creating. And I can tell you that, going to the law and getting somebody in jail, let that be the final step. But even before that, when somebody is called out for doing these kind of assaults, or sexual allegations are made against that person, please understand that more often than not, right now, he or she, mostly he, is being ostracized by their organizations, by their industry, by their professional setup, right? So there is an immediate impact which is happening, and we should appreciate that.
Yes,
it should happen more, but at least it's a start. More than that, I'm a father of a teenage son. And my son is listening to all these news. He's following this news clearly. And, growing up, kids are learning these things. Please don't undermine the impact that this movement is creating for a kid who's growing up and learning these things at an early stage.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with you on that, which is why we are having these conversations. Because we need to use this opportunity to make more people aware, to enable more people to come out and speak, and to ensure that such kind of rampant sexual harassment doesn't take place. I have a caller on the phone line. Rekha Nigam is on the phone line from Mumbai. Go ahead, please.
So, Tanvi, my point is that we are in the midst of a cataclysmic revolution. For the first time, women have found their voices about this. And this is happening after centuries in our country.
Yes.
So I would like to tell people like Mr. Naidu that do not think just of the legal remedies, what will get a man conviction, what will get a man punished, etc. That's not so important right now. Right now is the time to listen to these women. For the first time in centuries, women have found a voice. Women have found the courage inside them, and they're finding the support outside among a sisterhood of women is here supporting women, and decent men are supporting them. Please let this play out. This is such an important part of this revolution. Wait. Of course, it's a volcano waiting to erupt, and it might...
It is a volcano waiting to erupt, Rekha Nigam. I completely agree with you there. It is a revolution, and this must not stop. I am completely out of time for tonight, though. We won't stop this debate just with this one. We will continue in the coming days. But for tonight, thank you to all our panelists. This is a revolution, and it has just begun. For all of those who are so concerned about reputation of men, for all of those who are concerned about ruining lives and families, well, you will just have to deal with it. Because for years and decades now, this kind of rampant, ugly harassment has gone on for far too long. Far too many lives have actually already been ruined. Far too many careers have been ruined. And understand this, viewers. Anybody who goes through it is never able to forget it. You don't just wake up one fine day and feel all right about it. You can't blank it out. You have to deal with it for the rest of your life. I'm just going to summarize by reading out these lyrics from a song that is going viral across the world right now, because it makes a point that I want to all of those men who are asking this question about what do we do? Can we not even talk to women now? What is sexual harassment and what isn't? What about false allegations? What about false claims and scoring revenges? And here is my message to you. And this is a song by Pantsuit Nation. Check it out. It's going viral online right now. It says, I can't walk to my car late at night while on the phone. I can't open up the windows when I'm home alone. I cannot go to a bar without a chaperone. I cannot wear a mini skirt even if it's the only one I own. I can't use the public transport after 7 p.m. I cannot be brutally honest when you slide into my DM. I can't go to the club just to dance with my friends. I can't leave my drink unattended. But sure, it's scary time for boys. Yes, gentlemen, band together, make some noise. It's really tough when your reputation's on the line and any women you have assaulted could turn up anytime. Sure, it's a scary time for guys. Can't speak to any woman or look her into the eyes. Is it so confusing? Is it rape or is it being nice? So inconvenient that you even have to think twice. Good night.